Hello, I'm Kate Arndt. I am the youth and diary historian here at the Holocaust Museum in Houston. Welcome to a very special edition of Youth Chats, a series in which I get to talk about Jewish teens and children, non-diarists and diarists alike. Today is almost International Women's Day. It is Women's Month, all month long, and I decided that we would discuss two Holocaust survivors. You probably have seen these women before. Sorry, my breathing. I'm going through breathing treatment at the moment, lung treatment, so within the next couple of days. So, in the next couple of weeks, really. But anyway, I wanted to talk about these two women here. Both of these women mean a great deal to me, and both of these women had a lot in common. So you're probably, if you hadn't caught up on the recent episodes of Youth Chats, you're probably wondering who these women are, and that's okay. I'll give you a recap. So this was my dear friend Eva Genzova, or as she was known as, Chava Pressburger, and this other beautiful young woman here, her name was Felicitas Wolf, or Wolfova, or as she was known as, Felicitas Garda. These two women were Holocaust survivors, as well as they were both women who had brothers who wrote diaries. Now, not only did their brothers write diaries, but they too had their hand in diary writing. So let me go ahead and explain how these women had a lot in common. So they are both from the Czech lands. They're both from the Czech Republic. Eva, or Chava, was from Prague. And Felicitas was born in Lipnik. She lived in Olomouc, and then she lived in Triska, and then she lived in Ostrava. So she pretty much moved a lot in the Czech Republic. These two women were both sisters, not related actually, but they both had brothers. So Eva had her older brother Peter, and then Felicitas had two brothers, Otto and Kurt. So Felicitas was the middle. So let me go through these women in kind of individually and how they are both very special to me. So Eva, we'll start with her first. She was born February 21st, 1930 in Prague, youngest of two. She was raised by two loving parents who were very well educated. They spoke several languages, and Eva was deported to the Terezin ghetto in May of 1944 when she was 14 years old. There she wrote a diary. She survived. Her brother Peter did not. Peter died in September of 1944, which is ironic because Eva died in September of 2022. So it's kind of almost, they were born the same month, they died the same month. So I thought that was really ironic. Eva, after she survived, she married, and she moved to Israel. And she lived there for the next 50, 60 years. She was an artist. Her art is beautiful, and she published Peter's diary in 2004, and I was very lucky enough, to call her a dear friend of mine. Her family is very wonderful. I know her daughter's side especially. They're just wonderful people, and I just adore her, and I miss her. And so she spent a lot of time during her final years, really, or should I say the last few years. She really wanted to make sure that Peter's story was not forgotten. And for me, she really was one of the first survivors I ever met. So it was really cool to get to know her, and I always love talking about her and Peter. And we'll get to all the books where they're mentioned in a minute. So then we turn our sights to Felicitas. Felicitas had a little bit more of a different story. Felicitas was the second child of three. She was the only girl. So she had an older brother named Kurt and a younger brother named Otto. She was born in Lipnik on March 27th, which is coming up very soon, in 1920. She celebrated her centennial in 2020. Even though she didn't get a chance to see it, but still, she's technically over 100 years old. Yay! Anyway, she was a fashionista. She worked in a clothing store. She sewed. She made her own clothes. She could pretty much make anything out of any material. She was just that talented and just that amazing. So she and her younger brother Otto and her parents, they all went into hiding in June of 1942. Otto began his diary in June of 1942, and they first hid with Felicitas' then boyfriend, and that didn't go over too well. I mean, you have to kind of remember that, you know, he's doing it because he loves her, and, you know, really he just wants to protect her. But in all honesty, it's difficult to try to get supplies and everything like that. So then they moved to a former housekeeper, and she helps out with the sewing and everything. And then they moved to another house in Zakhrov, Czech Republic. And then, unfortunately, I guess these Russians who fight for the Germans, they come and they, you know, are looking for partisans. They're not looking for Jews, but they look at Otto, and unfortunately, you know, they take him away, and they also take their hider away as well. And so the parents basically say, we cannot stay here. And that's when Felicitas takes over the diary. So she not only saves Otto's diary, but she writes in it herself, and she continues to telling us, you know, what happened and what's going on. And anyway, sorry about that. But anyway, so Felicitas survived, and so does her parents. Unfortunately for Otto and for Kurt, Kurt dies in 1943 in the Battle of Sokolovo. He's fighting for the Czech unit in the Ukraine, and Otto unfortunately is shot and killed after he does not reveal anything about himself. I do talk about this in the Otto Wolf and Felicitas Garda youth chat episode. I'll definitely link that wherever you need to. But anyway, so Felicitas, she does marry. She marries a man also named Otto, which I think is very funny. And she has 2 daughters, both who are still living. One daughter lives in the United States. The other daughter is in the Czech Republic. And Felicitas, in 1995, she donates Otto's diary, this picture of herself, as well as the only picture of Otto and Kurt. Well, Kurt actually has a couple more pictures, and the pictures of her parents and the diary, all to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C., which you can still see, by the way. It is still there, and they've scanned it, which is great. They've digitized all of it, so you can see all the pictures. Now, with Chava, she donated, well, actually, her father donated all of Peter's artwork to Yad Vashem in Israel, which is their version of the USHMM in DC. But she was very involved with Yad Vashem, and that's actually how I managed to get a hold of her, which is great. So why are these women very important to me? Well, number one, these women are just unbelievable. I mean, first of all, the way that they both had a lot in common. They both lost their brothers, so they were the only siblings left, if you will. Both of their parents survived, but basically both of their mothers and fathers handled their brothers' deaths very much the same, with the exception of how they handled it on their own. So Chava, her mother, as what she told me, nearly flipped the table when she found out, the kitchen table, when they found out about Peter's death, which is understandable because, you know, she lost her baby, she lost her boy. Felicitas' mom, when she found out about both of her boys, which she found out on the same day, within an hour of each other, she had a stroke right then and there. Almost didn't recover from it. So both moms, both of their mothers really were devastated and did not know how to handle the loss of their boys, because, you know, I don't know, I'm not a parent, but I can't imagine losing your siblings. I mean, Felicitas, so they're both different ages. So Chava, I think, is about 15 or 16 when she finds out that Peter dies. Felicitas is 25. So they're 10 years apart. She's born in 1930, she's born in 20 years apart. So anyway, so they're both different ages, but the way that they handle their brothers' deaths are interesting. So Felicitas, it's great.
Hey, Maddie, we have a group of students coming through right now. You can help direct them upstairs.
Sorry. So Felicitas handles her brother's death. Both of them, she doesn't really talk about them for a long time. And I understand, because it's painful. Chava kind of doesn't, but then she realizes that she's got to. And so I want to show you where I found out about their brothers and kind of my thing. So this is how I found out about both of these women. This is Salvage Pages. It is a beautiful book. This is my Bible. And this is Otto Wolff's chapter. So Felicitas Garda was able to be interviewed by Miss Zapruder, which is interesting because Felicitas did not really do interviews. There's no like show a video of her, nothing. But she was able to coax Miss Felicitas to help write this chapter and, you know, give permission for the diary. And Peter and Ava, which is actually right after Otto, which is so ironic. Because Peter and Ava are both mentioned in here. And, you know, Chava basically said, oh, yes, absolutely. So this is a book that you really want to read. This book also has Moshe Flinker in it as well, who we'll be talking about very soon. But this is where I really discovered, but I had discovered Otto Wolff much earlier in a journal, but anyway, that's okay. We'll talk about that another time. But anyway, this is a great book. So with Chava, she did publish Peter's diary in 2004. It is a very important book for me because now that Chava has passed away, it's kind of like the only thing left I have of her. And yeah, this book is very important to me and I cherish it.
Are we ready for the second bus?
Sorry. Yeah, this is
maybe
really
just
great.
1 more minute.
Let me see if there's anyway, sorry about that. And then in 2022 I published a book on the Wolff siblings. So this is...
Are we ready? Yes, go ahead.
This is all about Otto. So here's Otto, and we go through all the picture, all the information about Felicitas as well. So it talks about Felicitas, Otto, and Kurt. Anyway, it's called Beyond the Diary, the story of the Wolff siblings. So if you want to find it, it is on Amazon. You'll just see Otto's beautiful face, covered by the wonderful Shane McCormick. And all the pictures that he colorized were done by him as well. So anyway, these women, though they are not here anymore, even though Chava's death is very recent, Felicia's been gone for quite a while, I feel like these women, they are always going to be here. They're always going to be here with me, and I hope that you will get a chance to learn more about them. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. But anyway, thank you for joining me on this very special edition of Youth Chats. Have a great day, guys.